Hello and welcome to The Drug Trip. This channel is here to feed the curiosity of those who would like to gain an insight to the effects of various drugs and substances through user experiences and stories, with our main goal being to entertain and reduce harm and abuse. We post regular trip reports every few days, so if you do enjoy these, we would really appreciate it if you subscribed. And more importantly, we love to hear our viewers' thoughts, opinions and experiences, so please leave something for us in the comment section and we may use it in a future video. Enjoy and be safe. I've done Hawaiian shrooms before, once in Amsterdam. I ate around 3/4 of a gram of dried mushrooms and I hallucinated a bunch and had my fun. 2 years later, I decided to hallucinate again, but don't trust drugs from the street, so I decided to go ahead with something I can trust, which is legal: salvia. I'm the kind of guy that does about a month's worth of research before buying, travelling, or just plain trying something new. So I did my research on this one to make sure I wasn't doing any damage to my mind or my body. I work out a lot and I pay very close attention to my nutrition for perfect blood. I also checked out a bunch of history behind the herb. I'd watched videos with people doing it and read a bunch of times how to do it right. There, I'm ready for this. I'm sure I'll just hallucinate and then come back within 3 minutes. I finally buy the 20x from a head shop in Ottawa right after I'm done my university exams for the year. I try something new every summer. I told my girlfriend what I bought and she looked disappointed in me as if I'm going to be doing heroin. But then I smiled again since she remembered that she told me I'm free to do whatever I want in my life and that she will always support me. I explained to her the meaning behind these travels from the shamans and that I would never do anything man-made. It took me around 4 days after I bought it to actually try it, and those were the longest 4 days ever, as if Christmas was coming closer. And then finally, one weekend, with all of my family still at home, I explained to her that I have been wanting to do this for so long, and that it was tough not wanting to do it without a sitter alone in my room, and that I was really wanting to do this. Okay, so we decided to go and do a picnic in a small little park where kids were playing. It was around 5 and I started work at 6. There was a little forest beside the park and some apartment buildings. I didn't want to do this in my room since I believe the herb wasn't used in our present technology, and the best way to experience this would be outside, in the fresh air, beside some forest, much like the shamans did. I made a homemade bong, and we made out of a Powerade bottle, a pen tube, liquor flask funnel, and a small little disc filter from a faucet that I unscrewed from a display at Canadian Tire. My girlfriend used my DV recorder to get some entertaining parts. Although I was in the park with these kids around 300 metres away, I thought it was still legal what I was about to do, with all the people looking around like alcohol is illegal outside, or didn't know if it's legal or illegal to smoke anything in or around a child's playground. So I still tried to wait until the people passed by before I'd take a puff. The first puff went down good. I held for a good 20 seconds and then blew out. Smoke came out, so I must be doing this right, but nothing. Just a little twitch on my right arm as if I was getting these spasms that I would normally get from smoking weed. Okay, let's add some more salvia. Puff again. Weird taste. Held in for 20 seconds. Everything on the left side of my ear, all the way down where the eye could see, felt like it was a huge glass wall, and vibrated 3 times as if somebody knocked on a door or something. Okay, still considered nothing. What the hell? Was I ripped off? Okay, even more now. If I do it right again, I'm sure to have something more than a slight vibration from an atmospheric door knock. Take it really deep this time. Hold it in. 30 seconds. Blow out. Nothing. Wait. Wow. That's what I thought. Still, after 3 days of this happening, I'm still unable to explain what exactly happened. There are 3 parts to the story, 3 experiences intertwined into one trip. The bad trip I had was the bad trip of all 3 stories in the same time. The happy trips was the combination of all the trips as well. Think about 3 stories, piled one on top of the other, with the same hump and bumps matching perfectly on top of each other. So the first story, the visual effects. I was lying on my side with my arm at a 90-degree angle, holding myself up, looking down at the blanket. I imagined my girlfriend's head was between my arm and head, as if my arm was stretched over as we were sitting in the car, and her iPod was playing on the blanket. But the words of the music felt like I was saying these romantic things to her from the song, while it was playing on the car radio. "Are you all right?" I looked up to her and realised I wasn't actually in the car. This was when I saw the grass, the trees, the sky. Everything had 8-bit colours. The first Mario Bros game from Nintendo comes to mind. And I'm colourblind, so I don't know if this was an effect or not. The grass were just plain cylinders of the same shape and size, millions. The trees looked so simple in shapes, but my girlfriend, sitting Indian style in front of me, seemed completely normal. I didn't remember her as my girlfriend. I didn't even know who I was. All I knew was that I represented Earth and humankind, and I was on this planet with what seemed to be the queen of this world. This is where I started tripping quite badly. I realised people in the park shouldn't be seeing me doing drugs, and my mind started freaking out. The world just seemed so dark and chaotic, representing I did something bad, but what was bad? What did I do? Did I smoke drugs? I asked. Okay, wait. I walked from home, took a picnic. I didn't do anything bad. Why is everything like this? Did I smoke drugs? Why? Why are we here for smoking drugs? The Queen never answered. She just sat still, looking at me, and that frustrated me. An alien that doesn't speak drugs? My language can't explain how I got there. You smoked some salvia, you'll be okay. These were the words that made me the happiest guy ever. The phrase brought me right back to earth, and the buzz was pretty much gone. I stood up so happy. I was running in circles. My girlfriend still thought that I was high and told me to sit down, but no. I was so happy I was back. The second story, this is what my mind felt like. Imagine a puzzle you received for your birthday, and it has 1,000 pieces. I started to make the puzzle, which was pretty pleasant and entertaining. I was having fun making it. But to date, I only see black coloured pieces. Whatever though, I'm still making it, still having fun. This is what my mind felt like before the bad trip, but once the bad trip came along, I finished the puzzle, but the middle piece was missing. I had 999 pieces of the puzzle. Oh no, I can never finish it. And can you imagine the frustration of looking around for what seemed like forever for the last middle piece of this black canvas? This confusion lasted so long. At first, it really felt like something was missing when I was tripping. This was the most important piece also, since it was the only piece of the puzzle that had a picture on it, giving the meaning of actual making it. When my girlfriend told me, "You smoked some salvia, you'll be okay." This was a sentence that could pretty much be translated into, "Oh, I found the piece. Here you go." This made me the happiest man ever. I finished the mind puzzle. The last piece of the puzzle explained to me that all this chaos I was having was over. And the third story was more of the spiritual side. This, I think, is the best way to describe what I felt in general. Everything has an opposite, yin-yang, hot-cold, male-female. But what I never realised is that our reality, our consciousness, also has its own opposite. Picture our reality, our sense of self-being, the whole world, as a house that we live in. We have beautiful wallpaper. People are happy, or they pretend to be at least, and everything that is matter lives in the house. Philosophers for generations were the only ones who seemed to care and look out the window and try to describe what was sub-natural, what they see, but without completely understanding the outside. Now, picture salvia as the door, smoking it as opening the door, and the starting buzz as being outside while the door shuts behind you. This is exactly what I felt. I saw outside. Sure, trees were different, grass was different, and the outside just seemed 8-bit colour. It was fun to adventure in it for a while. This is when I realised that the shamans used salvia to have God's vision, so really, I stepped into God's country. It felt amazing and so turned around. This was where the bad trip started. I saw that outside of the house, I saw our reality, our humanity, our sanity from an outside point of view. I saw the bricks, foundation and the roof of our house. The bad trip caught on because our house was not pretty at all. We seem to believe everything from the inside is nice and dandy, with all the coolest furniture, parents looking over us as kids. Even though we think everything is nice in the inside, I saw that outside of the house and it scared me. It was truly disgusting and I wanted to just walk straight back inside, but the door was locked. I panicked. I didn't know how to get back to the real world. I was in the land of the gods which built our house, and by its disgust seemed as if they'd gave up on renovating it since we stopped appreciating what they're doing to us as a society. I felt as if truth was given out to me right in front of my eyes, proof that there is some sort of divinity out there. Either we start appreciating them for what they do to help us renovate our house before the ceiling falls on all of us, destroying us, or we smarten up and start renovating ourselves. I would see the outside of our environment as like this. Did I smoke drugs? Why? Why are we here for smoking drugs? And really thought, why, as a society, do we have to hide to do drugs? This is what I meant by this confused sentence. We're a society that we have to hide every time we do something different, and we cannot truly express ourselves properly because of scare, homosexuals, drug dealers, strange sexual activities, illegal poker games, everything we do, and we have to hide it. Why do we have to hide all of this? Why are there even rules out there? It just seemed as if it was an order, was killing us. And when my girlfriend said, "You smoked some salvia, you'll be okay," this pretty much translated into the doors opened again, run back in, quickly. Once I ran back inside to reality, I was so happy to be back to our happy, innocent point of view of our society that has a possible future without the thought of the ceiling was going to crash on us. I stood up and ran, being so happy to be back here. Of course, this is when my girlfriend still thought I was tripping, but it was pure happiness. All of these 3 stories played in the same time visually, mentally and spiritually. 3 different stories playing in the same time, and all of this lasted only 2 to 3 minutes. In my mind it lasted for a couple of hours. I don't know how to explain this to my girlfriend when she told me, "What did you see?" I just had a headache and told her she had no idea what I experienced. At first I didn't know there was 3 stories to it. I just thought somehow it made sense in one story, but it was unexplainable. Funny, because I told her people on YouTube are so stupid for not explaining what they experienced, and that I was able to explain to her exactly, again, I thought it was going to be like shrooms, what had happened. It took me a couple of days just to come to those 3 stories, but it was more than that, I'm sure, because I felt it. Every drug out there will screw around with one or more of the human senses: sight, hearing, taste, smell and touch. Salvia seemed to prove there is a 6th sense, being the human soul, and salvia will screw around with that sense instead.